Hey, this is Mark Moore, aka Tuxedo Mark, at various places on the internet. It's 11:08 a.m. according to a computer clock on Monday, July 1st, 2013. And in this vlog, I got a request, a question on if there was any update on the Castlevania fan film, so thought I'd make a video about it. Honestly, it's still in the script writing stage. I mean, it's been outlined and everything. I did, character biographies. I kind of worked out a rudimentary budget. So it's in the script writing phase, and it's slow going just because I don't have much free time due to work, plus when I do have free time, there's a bunch of different interests that I have, whether it's watching anime or watching videos on the internet. But yeah, I'm still slowly writing the script, and I guess I can kind of give a give some ideas that I have. I'm writing the script with a very low budget in mind. I'm not trying to do anything too fancy. Now, obviously, because this is a fan film and I don't have enough expertise or budget or really any kind of appropriate filming locations for some of this stuff. Here's what it's going to be. A lot of it will be the prologue to the game, Castlevania Legends. It's gonna show Sonia's upbringing, her training, stuff like that. A lot of it will take place in the mansion, or outdoors while she's training or whatever. There might be like a scene like in a tavern where she kind of goes there hoping to be like incognito or whatever, just get a sense of what the common folks are talking about. That's where she can pick up on rumors regarding Dracula, like in the storyline for the game. It says the people were helpless to do anything but voice their concern. That's where she can hear them voicing their concern. Now, according to the game, things don't really change for her until one night. She meets Alucard, and the US manual storyline doesn't bring this across really well. You have to read a translation of the Japanese manual storyline, but she's out one night for whatever reason. I'm gonna think of a reason for her to be away from the mansion. Yeah, I might have mentioned this before, but yeah, she's rich. It doesn't come across in the English manual, but yeah, in the Japanese storyline, she's the daughter of aristocrats, and she lives in a mansion. Okay, she's not some poor girl that rises up to defeat Dracula. She's a rich girl that goes out to freaking kill Dracula because his forces attacked her mansion and basically left her grandfather for dead. Right. So she meets up with Alucard. I'm going to think of a reason for her to be out, maybe running errands or whatever. She meets up with Alucard one night. And, I guess she kind of learns his thing that he's looking for his father that deserted him. Hint Alucard, he's the guy over in the creepy castle. But anyway, so she goes back to her mansion and she discovers it's been attacked. And she has some last conversation with her grandfather. And then when he dies, she takes up the whip and she heads for the castle. Now, obviously, one big area of controversy regarding this game is it makes it seem that Trevor Belmont from Castlevania 3 is Sonia and Alucard's love child. Now, I really don't know what the deal is with the kind of endearing dialogue between them when they meet up in the game. He calls her my beautiful vampire hunter or whatever. In the manual's storyline, in the backstory to the game, there is no room for them to really form a relationship, much less get intimate with each other. So that's not going to be in my fan film. I might have them have like a moment together where like Alucard admires her or something, just to kind of justify their dialogue later on. And I don't even know honestly if it's an accurate translation of the in-game dialogue. I would have to try to find a translation of the Japanese dialogue from the game. But anyway, so a lot of it's going to be built up. Now, I am going to show parts of the game, going stage by stage, where Sonia reaches the castle and then goes through the castle. Now, the game is very repetitive, and as much as I love it, the stages do drag on. And Sonia fights a lot of the same enemies over and over again. Now, that's not going to happen in the movie because it would be very tedious and boring. Basically, I want to try to give a taste of each stage. Like those slugs or whatever that fall to the ground. Sonia might fight them, 2-3 times max in the movie, or a knight in armor. There might be a few shots of her, fighting knights, but I'm not going to go enemy by enemy or recreate the stages in their entirety or anything. That would be insane. The first stage is a forest, followed by a graveyard, and then she fights the creature's bat in the graveyard. So I figure you can film in a forest or whatever, or in a wooded area. Do a few, things with the slugs and some zombies. Probably just be that one guy coming up out of the ground as a zombie, over and over again. But I won't do it too many times. I'll just enough to show that, okay, she's fighting zombies. And then with the creature's banshees, I don't know how I'm gonna do that. I'll probably have to ask someone to just do a CGI thing and just have Sonia, or the actor playing Sonia, just whipping and doing her her soul power or her burning mode thing, and just I don't think I would be able to do special effects. I'd probably have to just ask someone if they'd be willing to do it, just to animate the burning mode, like the glowing thing, or animate it like a CGI bat, and just something very basic like that. And I don't want to devote too much time to each stage. I mean, I want to show her, obviously fighting in each stage, and show it just long enough to establish the mood. And as for the more my chickens are being noisy outside. They sometimes get really noisy for no apparent reason. Anyway. Okay, so as for the more complex backgrounds or whatever in the stages, I don't know if we'd be able to like actually build those, like the dungeon or whatever. Now, keep in mind that the stages themselves, I won't have Sonia like jumping onto platforms that are floating in midair. Obviously, those are gameplay mechanics, and the real story wouldn't have her doing that stuff. It wouldn't have her collecting hearts or anything like that. It wouldn't have her whipping candles, although I might have her whip a candle in a different context, like as a joke or something. But yeah, some of the backgrounds of the stages might have to be like, CGI, and we might have to do her in front of a green screen or something like that. But yeah, the obviously video game mechanics won't be put into the film. It'll be more grounded and realistic. Clock Tower, I don't know how I would do that either. Might have to CGI that as well, like with the gears and stuff. Might show, climbing some chains or whatever, and then like put in a fake background or whatever of the clock tower. Now, honestly, clock towers themselves wouldn't be laid out like that in such an elaborate fashion, so I might have her like be in a clock tower and doing some climbing in a clock tower, but it's not going to be so expansive like it is in the games, because clock towers are not designed like that. Dungeon, it's just basic, stone and cells and whatever with skeletons. Some of that might be practical to do in real life. Just get some fake skeletons or whatever, and maybe create like a quick cell or whatever, and just kind of replicate that as she's walking to make it look like it's bigger than it really is. It's interesting that one stage in the game, even though it was made with the for the Game Boy Color in mind. Well, I don't know about the Game Boy Color. It was, yeah, like I think it was made for the Game Boy. It wasn't it was for the original Game Boy, but it had color options in it, and like if it was made for the Super Game Boy, the adapter for the Super NES. You could it would assign colors to various stages and to the characters and backgrounds and stuff and objects. And the Game Boy Color, when that came out, eventually it replicated that effect. Now it's interesting that each stage got a different color scheme, and I might try to replicate that within the movie, where each stage would have like a certain color representing it. It's interesting that the dungeon is just plain old, like black and white, like the Game Boy. The film, I'm writing it pretty much like entirely from Sonia's perspective, so we learn things as she learns things. So it's like Dracula won't be seen until like the final shot, or not the final shot, the final battle of the movie, when she finally confronts him. Alucard honestly won't be playing that big of a part. I mean, obviously he's doing his thing. He obviously got to the castle before she did, because he's further along in it. But yeah, what'll happen is she'll meet up with him like outdoors somewhere, and then she goes back to the mansion, and then she sets off on her quest, and she'll eventually meet up with Alucard again within the castle. And then he's like, I must put myself to sleep or whatever. So then that's it for him. So yeah, that's basically my approach. I'm trying to write it as realistically as possible and kind of be mindful of what I have to work with. It'll capture the spirit of Castlevania, but it won't be like an extravagant motion picture. I'll have to worry about like the CGI and the sets when we actually start like pre-production, but that's still a long ways away. I'm going to be spending this year basically writing the script, and polishing that, and then maybe toward the end of the year I'll start making inquiries about help with this project. There's a guy that's involved in running a local comics, gaming, and anime convention that's put on here in this county twice per year. The next one's going to be in September. I might talk to him then about it to see if we could get some extra local geek support for this film. And obviously I still have to get a better camera. I still have my old tape-based video camera. I have to get a digital camcorder, at least one. I really don't want to do a single camera setup, but by the time that I would eventually get around to filming this, I think I can get 2 cameras by then. Before anything, I want to, get a new video camera, learn how to use it, try filming some really small experimental stuff with just myself, presumably. Just learn how all of that works. Yeah, that's about it for now. Honestly, it's still script writing, so I'm also currently watching a long play of Castlevania Lament of Innocence for the PS2. Why? Because that is officially the origin story of Castlevania, and obviously Koji Igarashi made it to after he displaced Legends, but considering Koji Igarashi is no longer in charge of the original timeline, and the original timeline has been abandoned in favor of the Lords of Shadow universe, I'm gonna try to have both Lament of Innocence and Legends coexist, and what I'm gonna do is Lament of Innocence will be treated as kind of a forgotten history within the film. It's like Sonia, learns of this legend of Leon Belmont from like 400 years earlier. Yeah. So, and obviously she'll get the vampire killer whip, and there will be legends surrounding that, and I'm gonna try to throw in a few Easter eggs or in-jokes to to various parts of the franchise. With music, I'm gonna try to work some of the soundtrack from the actual game into the film. Maybe not the actual music, maybe like reworked versions of the various. Yeah. Okay, so I think that's about it for now. A lot of it's just ideas and script writing for now. Probably won't do another update on this until, months from now, like later in the year. But, yeah, so that's it. It's 11:29 a.m. and thanks for watching.